When a woman feels something powerful for a man, her emotions are not always easy for her to handle. The truth is, deep attraction and love can be overwhelming. A woman who seems to be pushing you away might not be doing it because she doesn't care, but because she actually feels so much that it scares her. Imagine the rush of emotions that hit her when she starts to realize how important you are in her life. The more her heart leans toward you, the greater the risk she feels of being hurt, abandoned, or misunderstood. That intensity can trigger her instinct to pull back, almost like she's trying to protect herself from drowning in her own feelings. It's not rejection, it's self preservation. Most men misunderstand this reaction. They take her sudden withdrawal as a loss of interest, when in reality it could be the complete opposite. What you must recognize is that when a woman pushes you away, it may actually be because she values the connection so much that she needs a pause to process it. Her emotions are storming inside of her, and sometimes that storm feels too big for her to stand in without building walls. She may test you by seeing how you react when she takes a step back. Will you panic? Will you beg for her attention? Or will you stand strong and patient, showing her that you're secure enough to let her feel what she feels without falling apart? This emotional overload can make her act distant or even cold. But what's happening underneath is the opposite of indifference. It's an internal battle. Think about it. When someone is indifferent, they don't care at all. They're not wrestling with their emotions, they're simply absent of them. But when she's wrestling, when she's confused, when she's hot one moment and cold the next, that means she is deeply involved. The struggle itself is proof of how much you matter to her. She wants you, but she's fighting the vulnerability that comes with wanting you too much. That's what creates the paradox. If you chase her in that moment, trying desperately to close the gap she's creating, you feed her fear. Your neediness confirms her worry that emotions are too heavy, too consuming, and she'll push harder against you. But if you stay calm, grounded, and patient, you send the opposite message. You show her that her emotional intensity doesn't scare you, that you're solid no matter how stormy the connection feels. That's when she begins to feel safe again. Safety isn't about physical protection in this case, it's about emotional balance. She needs to know she won't lose herself or drown if she gives her heart more fully, and your composure proves that she won't. In many ways, this emotional overload is a compliment, though it rarely feels that way to the man at first. It means she sees something in you that makes her heart race, something worth risking her emotional walls for. She wouldn't pull back if she didn't feel the weight of the connection. That's why the worst thing a man can do is misinterpret her withdrawal as rejection and respond with insecurity or anger. That reaction only pushes her farther away, confirming her fear that she can't trust the emotional storm she's experiencing. Instead, understand that her pulling away is part of her process, a way for her to catch her breath and regain control of emotions that feel bigger than her. This is where the strength of your masculine frame matters most. By giving her space without resentment, by staying centered without collapsing into fear or doubt, you allow her to process and then return on her own terms. When she does, she'll come back with more certainty because she's tested both her own emotions and your stability. That's when the connection deepens because she realizes that not only do you stir powerful feelings in her, but you're also strong enough to hold the space for them. So when she pushes you away at the moment she actually wants you most, remember this truth. Emotional overload is not a sign of disinterest, but of depth. Handle it with patience, with strength, and with calm certainty, and you'll discover that her pulling back is only a temporary wall hiding how deeply she truly cares. And in time, those walls fall when she realizes you never wavered. Would you like me to now expand key point 2 the same way into a natural 650 word flow? Another powerful reason why a woman will push you away when she actually wants you the most is because of fear of vulnerability. Vulnerability is not easy for anyone, but for women who have been hurt, disappointed, or betrayed in the past, it feels like standing on the edge of a cliff with no guarantee of a safe landing. When she starts to feel strong attraction or emotional connection, that old voice in her head often whispers, "What if this ends the same way as before? What if I let him in and he hurts me? What if I give my heart and he doesn't protect it?" These questions create a storm of doubt and hesitation. Even when her heart is screaming that she wants to be closer to you, this fear of vulnerability makes her behave in ways that don't align with her true feelings. She may become guarded, distant, or even act like she doesn't care. Not because she wants to push you away permanently, but because she's trying to shield herself from pain. Deep down, she knows that the closer she gets, the more she stands to lose if things don't work out. The thought of handing someone else the power to affect her happiness is terrifying, and so she creates distance as a defense mechanism. This doesn't mean her attraction is gone. On the contrary, the fear itself proves how much she values you and the connection. Many men misinterpret this wall as a sign that she's not interested anymore. They panic, they question themselves, or they chase harder in hopes of tearing those walls down quickly. But the truth is, walls built from fear don't crumble under pressure. They come down only when she feels safe. When she feels that vulnerability won't be used against her. So that's why your role in these moments isn't to argue with her or push harder. It's to prove with your calmness, consistency, and emotional strength that you are someone she can trust with her heart. When a woman fears being vulnerable, she may test you without even realizing it. She might pull back slightly to see if you'll react with neediness, anger, or insecurity. She wants to know if you can remain steady even when she creates a bit of distance. If you pass that test by standing firm, not chasing, but also not withdrawing in bitterness, you show her that you're not like the men who hurt her before. That's when trust begins to grow, and with trust comes her willingness to let down those defenses. Think about it. Vulnerability is essentially exposure. It's like handing someone your unguarded heart and saying, "Here, I trust you not to break it." That's not a small thing. When she pushes you away, even while she wants you, it's often because she's wrestling with the question of whether you're worthy of that trust. And you don't prove your worth by chasing, begging, or trying to force closeness. You prove it by showing her over time that you're strong, reliable, and steady enough to handle both her love and her fears. The irony is that her fear of vulnerability often hurts her more than it protects her. She may sabotage something beautiful just because she's afraid to let go of control. But this is where your strength as a man becomes crucial. By remaining composed, by showing that her temporary walls don't scare you, you invite her to slowly lower those defenses. You create the kind of emotional safety where she realizes that being vulnerable with you isn't a risk, but a relief. And once she feels that, the love and affection she had been holding back will flow more freely than ever. So when she pushes you away, even as she desires you, don't mistake it for rejection. Recognize it for what it is, her fear of vulnerability. Instead of reacting with insecurity, respond with patience and confidence. Show her that her heart is safe with you, and you'll not only draw her back, but you'll also earn a level of trust and intimacy that lasts far beyond the fear. And in that moment, her pushing away becomes the very thing that deepens the bond between you. Do you want me to now continue with key point 3 in the same natural 650 word expansion? Another powerful reason why a woman may push you away, even when she deeply wants you, is because of her need to test your emotional strength. This might sound unfair at first, but it is rooted in how attraction works on a deeper psychological level. A woman wants to know if the man she is giving her heart to is someone she can truly depend on, not just when things are smooth, but when emotions get complicated. When her feelings grow stronger, when the connection feels more serious, her natural instinct is to make sure that you are not easily shaken, that you don't crumble at the first sign of difficulty. Pushing you away, even temporarily, becomes her way of measuring your resilience. Think about it. Attraction isn't just about charm, looks, or chemistry. It's also about trust and stability. A woman doesn't want a man who is only strong in words but weak when pressure arrives. She wants to know that when life throws challenges, you'll remain grounded, not frantic. So when she creates space or acts cold, she may be unconsciously observing how you react. Do you chase after her desperately, flooding her with messages, begging for her attention, and showing her that your emotions are dictated by hers? Or do you remain calm, composed, and centered, showing her that your value doesn't depend on her temporary withdrawal? The answer to that question tells her everything about the kind of man you are. If you crumble when she distances herself, if you show insecurity or anger, she immediately senses weakness, and in that weakness, her attraction begins to fade. Not because she doesn't care, but because women are naturally drawn to men who exude strength and self control. On the other hand, if you stand firm, if you continue living your life focusing on your mission, showing kindness without desperation, then you prove that you are not just another man easily shaken by emotions. You show her that you are a man she can lean on. This is where so many men go wrong. They think pushing back harder, demanding explanations, or showering her with reassurance will fix the problem. But when a woman is testing your strength, what she really wants is to feel your steady presence without you trying to force closeness. She wants to see if you can maintain balance when she temporarily creates distance. This paradox is what makes relationships both challenging and beautiful. The very moment she seems most confusing is often the moment she is actually seeking proof that you are exactly the man she hopes you are. Your response in these moments defines whether her attraction grows stronger or weaker. If you get needy, she interprets it as proof that you can't handle her intensity. But if you remain confident, pursuing your goals, treating her with respect but without begging, you demonstrate qualities that reassure her heart. Over time, she learns that her push and pull doesn't destabilize you, and that security makes her feel safer opening up fully. It's important to understand that this isn't manipulation from her side, it's instinct. Just like a man wants to know that a woman truly values him and respects his leadership, a woman wants to know that her man has the inner strength to hold his ground. She may not consciously think, I'm going to test him, but when emotions get high, her actions often reflect that deeper need for certainty. And if you see it for what it is instead of panicking, you'll navigate those moments with patience and calmness. When a woman realizes you cannot be shaken by her temporary withdrawal, something powerful shifts in her. She stops testing, she stops doubting, and she begins to trust. That trust turns into deeper attraction because she sees that you are not just someone she wants, but someone she can rely on in every season. That's the kind of man she doesn't want to lose, the kind of man she won't keep pushing away anymore. So when she pushes you away, remember this. It might not be rejection, it might be a test of your strength. If you can pass that test by standing firm, you don't just keep her attraction, you amplify it. And that's when she comes back with more love, more respect, and more certainty than ever before. Would you like me to continue with key point 4 in the same detailed, natural 650 word flow? Another deep reason why a woman pushes you away when she actually wants you most is because of her fear of vulnerability. To open herself up to you, to let you see her heart, her flaws, and her insecurities is one of the scariest things she can do. Women often appear strong on the outside, but deep down, when they truly care about a man, it brings up fears of being hurt, abandoned, or not being enough. And the more she wants you, the more exposed she feels. And that vulnerability can make her act in the opposite way of what her heart really desires. Instead of drawing closer, she pulls back. Instead of expressing love, she creates distance. It's not because she doesn't feel for you, it's because her emotions are so strong that they scare her. Think about it. When someone doesn't matter much to us, we can act casually, openly, and without much fear of rejection. But when someone means a lot, suddenly every word, every action feels loaded with meaning. A woman who truly wants you fears that if she shows too much affection, if she reveals just how deeply she feels, she might lose her power. She might get rejected, taken for granted, or even hurt. That fear often makes her create space, hoping to protect her heart while she processes the intensity of her emotions. Men often misread this behavior. They think, she must not care about me anymore, she's losing interest. But the reality is often the opposite. The distance she creates is a shield, not a sign of indifference. What she's waiting to see is whether you can handle her vulnerability without judgment, without pressure, and without taking advantage of it. She wants to know if you are patient enough, strong enough, and secure enough to give her the reassurance she craves, not through desperate words, but through your calm, steady actions. This is why chasing, begging, or trying to force closeness backfires. If you rush to close the gap she has created, she feels even more exposed. She feels like you're stepping into a space she hasn't fully allowed you to enter yet. But if you give her room, if you stay consistent and respectful while focusing on your own growth and purpose, she begins to feel safe. She realizes that her vulnerability is not something that scares you away, and that recognition slowly lowers her guard. It's also important to understand that vulnerability in relationships often triggers old wounds. Maybe she's been betrayed in the past. Maybe she's had experiences where opening up led to heartbreak. So when she feels herself falling for you, those memories resurface, and her natural defense mechanism is to push away. It's not really about you, it's about the fears she carries within. Your role isn't to heal her past for her, but to show through your behavior that this time is different, that you are different. Consistency, patience, and respect become the tools that ease her fears and encourage her to come closer. At the same time, your own mindset matters. If you take her distance personally, you feed into the cycle of insecurity. But if you understand her pullback as a reflection of her fear of being vulnerable, you won't panic. You'll remain calm, continue living your life fully, and let her come back when she's ready. That balance between giving her space and maintaining a steady presence is what ultimately allows her to overcome her fears. Once a woman realizes that her vulnerability is safe with you, everything changes. She stops pushing you away and instead starts leaning into the connection. She begins to share more, trust more, and love more openly. And it's not because you chased her into closeness, but because you allowed her to reach that point on her own terms, knowing she was with a man strong enough to handle her deepest fears without being shaken. So when she pushes you away, even as her feelings grow stronger, don't assume it's rejection. Recognize it for what it is, her fear of vulnerability. Handle it with patience, calmness, and strength. And in time, you'll find that the very walls she once built to protect herself come down because she finally feels safe letting you in